I thank God for the energy that I have because I know this is not my natural energy because like I'm still cloudy, I'm still stuffy in my, my sinuses is all messed up, but so I know this is God. Because I wanted to just say, Spirit, let's just sleep in today and we'll just, we'll catch up on the next Sunday. But what if God took a day off? What if God took a day off? What do you think will happen if God took a day off? The enemy will have a field day with us. If God decided to sleep or slumber, what would happen to us?
We would die.
Right, we would die. We would die. It wouldn't be no like we would be sinning, we would be dead. Because that's the devil, that's the enemy's sole purpose, to kill us and get our soul. So he wouldn't play with us. He wouldn't take us on these loops. He would go straight forward to death. That's what would happen to us if God decided to take a day out. So it is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. So he's saying that what Paul is saying is, I could boast about what I saw. He's trying to be humble. Well, he's not trying. He's being humble. He said, I could boast. That's what he's saying. I could brag about what I done heard, where I've been. But it wouldn't benefit me at all.
What did he say?
I'm going to tell you. Give me a minute and we're going to get there.
Oh,
I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago. So he's telling them, I knew a man. He ain't saying, okay, I was here, y'all. I went up to heaven. I went up to the third heaven. I'm better than y'all. This is why I said we're going to start at verse 1. So therefore we'll understand the thorn in the flesh. So in verse 1, Paul is talking about how he, being in his natural body, he said, I couldn't tell you if I went up in my spirit, man. I can't tell you which realm of my body that went there. But all I know is I heard. That's what Paul is saying. So he said, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. He can't tell whether he was in the body, so he went in the natural, or he can't tell whether he went in the spirit. That's what he's saying. Such a one was caught up to the third heaven. So how many of y'all know what the third heaven is? What's the third heaven, man?
Heaven, like where God is.
Right. Third heaven is where God is. I think I got the answer on the page for y'all too. I intended to put it on there.
It's at the top.
Okay, so I put a little broke down. So the third heaven is where God is. So Paul, he went to the third heaven. He was caught up to the third heaven. And so he went so far to the third heaven and he heard things in the third heaven. He don't know whether it was in his natural body or his spiritual body. And again, to clarify what he's saying, he says it again, that what made you think that you said it twice, but you didn't say it twice. He said the same thing, but he clarified it. He said in verse 3, and I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. But he said, but God knows how that he was caught up into paradise. So he clarified it so they'll know that I wasn't just somewhere in the sky, or I wasn't just somewhere out of space. I was in paradise, so they'll know what he was talking about. Don't pick at your swords. Stay with me. We ain't gonna be long. He wanted them to know that he was where God was. He said, I was in paradise. They knew what paradise was. That was the kingdom of God. That's what God's holy mountain was. That's what God himself is in paradise. That's where you go when you saved. That's where you go when you die. He said, I went there. And he said, I heard unspeakable words, which is unlawful for a man to utter. So it would have been a sin for him to say or repeat what he heard while he was in heaven. So he was in heaven, whether he was in his body or in his spirit. It really didn't matter. He was there and he remembered. But he was trying to be humble. He was being humble to the Corinthians. That's who he was talking to the people at the church of Corinth. So he was being humble to them and letting them know, hey, y'all, he was telling them, I've been there, but trying to stay humble at the same time. He wasn't trying to boast. He said, and the reason why he done it, he said he done it so that they wouldn't, so he wouldn't be exalted above measure. That's verse 7. So verse 7, I'm going to read verse 7. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh. And so the thorn in the flesh, people try to make up what the thorn in the flesh was and give you, just make their own thorn in the flesh. But the Bible tells you what the thorn in the flesh was. And I didn't even know at first either. I was making up stuff like, what is the thorn in the flesh? What is it? The thorn in the flesh, right after, there's a comma, and it says, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. Who know what buffet means?
Distract.
Huh?
Distract.
Yeah, distract, hit on, try to break in, beat on. That's what buffet is. Distract you, to keep you, to constrain you, to basically hinder you. That's what buffet means. If you ever heard somebody say the wind buffeted against the house, or the wind buffeted against the roof, or the ceiling, the wind, if the wind buffeted against something, it's constant. Every time the wind blows, it's hitting up against it, trying to break it. It's constantly hitting up against it. And Paul said it was lest he should be exalted above measure, meaning that he would be exalted or to think so highly of himself that he where he was. He could have glorified himself above the rest of them, because the only man that ever had went to the third heaven was Elijah and Enoch, the prophet. Those were the only two that had descended up to the third heaven. Whether it was their natural body, was Elijah and Enoch went in their natural body. They went in their natural body. And so Paul was among them. He basically descended up into the third heaven and heard some things up there. Something that nobody in their natural state had heard before, had never heard. Nobody had been there and came back and told the story. But he did. And so he said it was 14 years ago. And so this is Paul still trying to be humble. He said, for this thing I besought the Lord 3 times. I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. So this messenger that came to him in the flesh, this messenger, this thorn in the flesh, what it was. There was a thorn in the flesh, a thorn in your side. You ever heard of somebody being a thorn in your side? Man, you're a thorn in my side. We got thorns in our side. We got people that come, they don't know it, but they come to hinder us. They come to stop us. They don't mean no harm because it's a spirit operating in them. People come, and sometimes it be people that we love, the people, our loved ones. A spirit will be in operation, and there'll be a thorn in our side. Sometimes people come with words of discouragement. People come to tear you down. So you be going higher in God, or you'll be achieving your goals, or you'll be getting where you need to be. But a spirit will be operating in them, and there'll be a thorn in your side. There'll be a thorn in the flesh. So somebody give me Galatians 5 and 22 just so I can be sure, because I'm recording myself, so I don't want to steer nobody wrong. I want to say it's 5 and 22 through 23. Galatians 5, chapter 5, verse 22 through. Is that it? Okay. So people that's not a thorn in your flesh, they're going to come bearing love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, patience, and self-control. They're going to come bearing that. But people that's come to be a thorn in your flesh, that's bearing a message from Satan, like Paul, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to break down some of those thorns in the flesh that came, and it tells us we don't have to wonder, well, what did the messenger from Satan come to do? It came to stop him. It wasn't sin, But what it was a messenger that came to try to get Paul to sin, to distract him, to get him off track. That's why God said, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness. So his infirmity that he was talking about was his weakness. So so that's what grace does. So instead of him saying, okay, grace is there for me to sin. Grace was there, so what the devil meant for bad, God turned around for his good, and Paul glorified God in his infirmity. And so instead of Paul saying, I'm weak, I'm finna go sin. I'm finna go turn my back on God. I got a reason to sin. God know my heart. God know I'm weak. I got to go. God gonna strengthen me, but I got to do this one time. God forgive me for what I'm about to do. Paul didn't do that. But what Paul did was, Paul still glorified God. I'm going to tell you where he glorified God in. He said, we're going to go to 12, verse 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So he took the opportunity, I'm going to sit there for a minute. He took the opportunity, Orlando, he took the opportunity for his benefit, for God's benefit. He glorified God in it. Instead of him saying, okay, I'm weak, I'm finna go sin, I'm finna do wrong. He said, okay, since I'm weak, I'm finna let Christ be strong in me. I'm going to glory in him in my weakness. I'm going to glory in my weakness so that I can have his power. Because his power is made strong when I'm weak, in my weakness. So, and I put the English Standard Versions so it can break down some of the things that came to him. So 2 Corinthians 12 and 7, 12 and verse 10. And this is the English Standard Version. And then what it does is it breaks down some of those King James Version words. It says, that's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Through God. I add that through God part because through God we are strong. We're made strong when we are weak. That's when he can be strong, because when we are weak, that's when we tend to move out of the way. We don't move out of the way until we get weak. Until we decide that we can't do nothing. So the thorn in the flesh brought all of those insults. Paul was being tormented. He was being beat. He was stoned and left for dead. He didn't die, but he was stoned in the flesh. This is Paul, the apostle. So people whooped Paul. Him and Silas, they whooped him. They got literally beat. And so this thorn was so that he would remain humble, so that he wouldn't be exalted, so he wouldn't be getting no vain glory or to be thinking so highly of himself. Why? Because he had to stay humble in order for God to continue to use him on the earth. Because God's spirit dwells in a humble and contrite spirit, a heart of a humble and contrite person. We have to remain contrite. We have to remain humble in order for the Spirit of God to dwell in us. That's his word. And he's a God that he don't change. He don't care who you are. He don't care because he was Paul the apostle. He don't care that Paul was just as powerful as the rest of them. As he said, he outran all the rest of which he called them in the Bible. He called them super apostles. So he said he wasn't inferior to the chiefest of them, meaning Peter, James, John, all of those guys. Paul was just as powerful as them. He said, I outran them. But God didn't care because he was so great in the earth. God said, you're still man, even though you're Paul, and even though my spirit is on you, and even though my grace has been made sufficient for you, and even though you can do all these things, and even though you can work these signs, wonders, miracles, even though you can do this, you still got to remain humble. Because my word said that I dwell in the heart of a contrite and humble person. So I don't care because you're Paul. Because Paul was just like me and you. That's one thing that we got to realize. Those people in the Bible was people that lived and walked on this same earth that we live and walk on. For real. They weren't no greater than us. Elijah, Moses, they were all people born of the blood right here on earth. So they had to remain humble. So God gave them a thorn in the flesh. Gave them a thorn in their side. Who was Moses' thorn in his side? We talked about it last week. Who was his thorn in the side?
Under king, under the Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. Pharaoh was a thorn in his side. You know why that Pharaoh was a thorn in his side? Because he couldn't get God's work done. Until God had to work on Pharaoh. God hardened Pharaoh's heart. He was a thorn in Moses' side. Even when Moses took the children of Israel out into the wilderness and they was finna get ready to go across the Red Sea, Pharaoh still was a thorn in his side. He still was pressing up against him. And even when Pharaoh, he got away from Pharaoh, the children of Israel became a thorn in his side. Even Aaron, the priest, became a thorn in Moses' side. Aaron and his wife started talking about Moses. And his wife had got struck with leprosy, and she had to be put outside the city because she talked about Moses. They were talking about Moses. The children of Israel were talking about Moses, complaining, and God called serpents to come in there and start biting them. They was a thorn in his side, trying to come and buffet him, just like the thorn in Paul's side came to buffet him and try to stop him, hinder him from doing what God wanted him to do. It wasn't sin. I used to think that the thorn in the side, the thorn in the flesh was sin. That sin came and, man, I did. I thought when I sinned, I was like, well, I guess that's just a thorn in the flesh. I keep doing this thing. I can't stop doing it. I keep on doing this. God know my heart. Everybody got a thorn in the flesh. And that's what I thought. But now, when I went down and I studied this, and I got in the presence of God, God broke this thing all the way down to me. He let me know that this thorn in the flesh is these things that come, these strongholds that work through these people that come to try to hinder you. There ain't nothing to be afraid of, ain't nothing strange. When people come to try to hurt you and try to keep you from your destiny, from your goals, from serving God, from doing what's right, from living holy, they are a thorn in your side. They are a thorn in the flesh. That's what the thorn in the flesh was. Paul said, my thorn in the flesh, he talks about it, it was my infirmity, my weakness, those hardships that I went through, those people that was stoning me, that was a thorn in my flesh. That hurt me, that hindered me, that slowed me down. I could have did more. I could have went higher. I was exalted up to the third heaven. I was in the third heaven. Do you know how cool that is to be caught up in the third heaven? Imagine me standing right here with this suit on, go up into the third heaven. Y'all watch me go up into the third heaven. I go up to heaven. And when I get to heaven, the Bible talks about what I'm going to have on. I'm going to have on a white robe. I'm going to be in white. And I'm going to be amongst a crowd that no man can number. It talks about the Jews, how they're going to, the tribe of Israel, how they're going to be 144,000 of them. And it talks about us, how we're going to be dressed in all white. And we're going to be so many of us that can't nobody even number how many of us it is. Now imagine if I go up there in all white and come back right here, y'all see me go up there. How cool is that? It'll probably freak you out, though, won't it? You'd be like, what the world? Where you go? Dude, then what they call that thing to, what they call it to, what you say, when these people transport, or what they call, teleport? I had to teleport up into the third heaven. Teleportation. So I guess to answer our question, when we talked about how sooner or later will people ever be able to teleport? People can teleport according to Paul. He teleported. He said 14 years ago, I want to let y'all know about a man that teleported up into the third heaven. He said, I could brag about this, but it won't benefit me nothing. Won't benefit me. So he let them know. That's why I was starting at 1. And then we came to 7. So therefore we would keep, that way we would keep verse 7 and 8 into the context. And then we will know what the thorn in the flesh is. So the thorn in the flesh was those things that came to hinder him. That hardship he went through. Those people that came to hurt Paul. That came to stop Paul. The serpent that bit Paul and he didn't die. The persecutions and troubles that I suffered for Christ. The thing that he went through for Christ's name's sake. That was his thorn in the flesh. And they were sent from a messenger of Satan. Those messengers of Satan come to remind you, this is what I come to do for you. I come to stop you. I come to steal, kill, and destroy. Yeah. See, we talk about the devil, but the devil, he got little flunkies that do his work. Them strongholds not only we always talk about lust and jealousy and fear and all that type of stuff, but when people come to despitefully use you, misuse you, like, treat you bad, people that actually want to do you harm for no reason, that's a messenger of Satan. They come to deliver you a message from the devil. I don't like you. You're not on my side. I'm going to tell you something. If you're not on the Lord's side, you're not going to have no thorn in the flesh. Devil ain't going to bother you. Yeah, you're going to go through stuff. You're going to have troubles and stuff in the world. But when you're on the Lord's side and you begin to go through things and you suffer for Christ's sake and you're going to reign with him, you suffer because the devil has been sent to buffet you. He's been sent to buffet you. To let you know that you is in the army of the Lord. And I heard somebody say, a preacher say, when you in the army, don't think you ain't going to get wounded. Don't think that the devil is not going to beat on you. Principalities is not going to fight you. Wickedness in high places is not going to fight you. Don't think that you're going to get past all that. Don't think that the army of the Lord is going to be just, woo, blessings, woo, favor, woo. Yes, that's going to come, but when you're in the army of the Lord, that's why it's called an army. That's why he says put on the whole armor of God. Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, shield of faith, sword of the Spirit, which is the word, shoes, footshod of the gospel of peace. That's why I say put on this stuff so when you go out there, the devil won't be whooping you, cutting you, wounding you. Because you're going to get wounded if you don't have this stuff on. Because you want to run into some thorns in the flesh. You want to run into some thorns in your side. You're going to run into some people that don't mean you no good. You're going to run into people that come to destroy you. And don't think about flesh and blood, because the word said we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but evil wickedness in high places. That's what we battle against. Rulers of the darkness of this world. That's what we wrestle against. We don't wrestle against the people. I ain't fighting against Orlando. I ain't fighting against Emmanuel. I'm not fighting against Dr. Shamika, Prophet Shamika Dean. I'm not fighting against y'all. I'm not fighting against y'all. I'm fighting against the spirit that try to operate in us. That try to come and try to operate through these people. Yeah, that's what we're wrestling against. That's why rebuke is so important. I have to rebuke it. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. When that mind try to come up on you, when that mind, that the slothful demon or the angry demon or the demon that want to try to come and be jealous or hate, fight, you know what I'm saying? Cause problems, discord, people that want to come and try to destroy what you got, break into your house, take from you. That's all distractions. Those are all thorns in your flesh, thorns in your side. People that come to remind you of what you used to do. Come to try to tell you what you used to do, how you used to be. Those are thorns in your side, thorns in your flesh, remind you of who you used to be. That's the devil. God said, don't think on those things. He wants us to think on the good things. Yes, God, whatever is lovely. Yes, God, whatever things that's true, he wants us to think on that stuff. He don't want us to think on that. We got the same mind that was in Christ Jesus got to be in us. Yes, Lord. Thank you. And so we're going to go ahead and close on now. And I just thank